something with a bank, I don't remember. But it's 10,000 pund, and if I don't pay in tomorrow, then it'll be very bad. Yosef was his name, yes, Yosef. He said, Yosef, ratte mir. You know what ratte is? Save me. Yosef, ratte mir. They'll sell me. You know that I have a lot of property, but the money I haven't got. You know that I'll give you back the money. And you know that I cannot give you any guarantee because everything was mortgaged. There wasn't one thing that was ours. So he said, all right, Szlapak, I could give him a gira. That means, I'll go and I will sign for you. He took him into the bank and he said to the banker, please, so-and-so, give Szlapak 10,000 gira. He said, Mr. Derevsky, you're mad? 10,000 pounds, he said. Szlapak owes all the world. He said, never mind. He will pay me. I'm giving him 10,000 pounds. He will pay me. Sure. He saved us. I don't remember what it was, but it was really something terrible. Well, Derevsky gave him the 10,000 pounds. He paid off. And he was struggling, couldn't be harder. You have no idea how it was. But at one time it was with so many mortgages that he said to Charles, Charles, help me. Charles said, okay, Daddy, I'll help you, but you have to give me a word that you're not buying anymore. Then I'll try and I'll clean you up. Charles went in the business and he did a lot, he did this, he did that. He got people to rent and he changed the style. He helped him. And at one time, I see a lorry with full of vegetables. I say to the driver, where are you going with these vegetables? He said, Mom, you don't know? We have another hotel. I said, what hotel? He said, here, not far, it's the Gaylord's Hotel. Charles find out. I didn't tell him, but he find out. He said, Daddy, you gave me a word that you are not buying anything else. I cleaned you up, and I'm cleaning you still. If you buy more, so I will never be able to clean you up, and I haven't got a profession. And if you go bankrupt, what is becoming of me? In that case, I'm going back to study to England. I begged him. Abraham begged him, nothing doing. He packed his things, he's going back to England to study. He's going to study business management and law. And Abraham remained, and he did what he wanted. This hotel, really, I told Charles, really, this is, he bought the Gaylord Hotel that he pays rent for a year. He bought for 14,000 pounds. After the year, you will account all the rent you will take off from that. In the meantime, all the year he gets rent. And it doesn't cost him anything. The rent he takes off from the purchase price. It was a bargain. You couldn't, and it was from the doctor that she told him, smell my combination. It was a doctor, he was with all the Jewish people mixed up. I knew him. He couldn't resist. He bought it. Charles didn't want to listen. Als er gut geht, man also weggefahren nach England. He went into the university, and he started to study. And in the meantime, Abraham got very unwell. He had something to do with his heart. He went to England, and he stayed in Charles. In the meantime, he bought himself a flat in the, a very beautiful flat. And Abraham gave him the money. Abraham was very good to Charles. He went away, he didn't even want to sort of pay him back that he has done such a things, to leave him in the middle and not help him. Because to him it was, now he can do what he wants. If I talked to him, he didn't care. I used to say, but my God, value your stock. You owe so many mortgages. How can you be so? It's impossible. And I was, at one time I said, you know what? When he bought that place that I told you, he bought a hotel that it was the RAF, it was in the war. The RAF occupied it, and he couldn't go and see it, but the agent said, it's a good buy, and he explained him what it is and how much it is, and he said, yes, I'm buying. Then I find out that, and he didn't tell me. But I find out later. So I said, in that case, what will that mean? Say tomorrow you go bankrupt. How will I educate the children? How will they give me something in my hand? I said, I have to have something in my hand. What I will have, I know I will look after it, and I will not, I couldn't lose it. Because I know, and I will not take other things. I bought in Shura a house, and I also made a mortgage. And he bought me a house in Mombasa, a silly house that it is on the land from the government, but you build this, but I bought the house on the government land. But if they need it, they give you a month's notice, you have to go. Then I got so cross that he bought and he didn't ask me. So he said, okay, I buy you this house, so you have that in your hand. And we went for a holiday, and he gave me something else, so take this in your hand, and stop crying. And he said, don't tuck me the fliglen, don't cut my wings, let me fly. So he didn't care what I told him, and I was frightened. He did what he wanted, but for Charles, he went away if he didn't listen to him. Anyway, we came to England. Yes, so he bought me that house, and I bought it also with a mortgage, and I became also a gambler. When I had the start, I bought with very little money the Tudor, then I subdivided, and I rented, and I built another 2 flats, and Morris came from the university, and I said, I've got a mortgage for 10 years. And he said, but Mommy, 10 years, when you will pay off? I said, we'll pay off, the rent will pay off. And then when I sold 2 flats in Tudor, they were the first buy. Before I sold, I heard in Mombasa you can buy land. I bought the land in Mombasa, this money I put there. I never sold anything before I didn't invest. Anyway, Charles went away, and Abraham wasn't well, and we came to the doctor, and he said, yes, it's a heart attack. We stayed with Abraham, and Morris was already a doctor. We came back to Nairobi, and Kayla grew up and finished the university. She finished high school, and she was going to Israel to study. And I went with her to Morrisville, and from there to go to Israel. And I got a telegram that Daddy is in hospital. And I left Kayla with Morris, that she has to go by herself to the university, and I ran back to Nairobi. I came, he was in hospital, very ill. He was in hospital for a long time. Then we took him home, and he recuperated home, and he became better, and he started again to run Mombasa, Nairobi, the farm, this, there, like a machine. I used to tell him, Abraham, you're ill. Stop, stop, stop. Nothing. At one time I said, I want to go to the doctor to see in what stage you are. He said, if you will go to the doctor, I will never talk to you. You have no right to go to the doctor. You ask me and I'll tell you. Nothing wrong. But he was very ill. Then we came to, Kayla went to the university, and she was very popular. Kayla had lots of friends, she was a good scholar, she was comfortable at one time. She had a lot of friends. I don't remember what I want to tell you at one time. Anyway, in the end, I bought something in Kiron for Kayla. And we came to Kayla, and Daddy said he will be 6 months in Israel and 6 months here, and it didn't work out. It couldn't work out.
Why did you send Kayla to Israel? Did she want to go to Israel?
She wanted only to Israel. Only she was in Johannesburg in a
youth movement.
Yes, I don't remember, in a very old the Goldfields there. And she wanted only Israel. She went to Israel, she went in a kibbutz for 6 months. She worked very hard. She was going in the early morning. They took them with a lorry to cut the oranges and do all kinds of things. 12 o'clock she used to come. And then they came for breakfast, then they went back to work, and she was working very hard. And at one time she had to wash the floors. I bought her a pair of shoes. There was such a lot of water and such a lot of work that the shoes went like paper like that. At one time she told me she washed maybe 150 plates. Kayla works very hard.
Yeah.
And then that was in the kibbutz, and then the university. Then she met Eli, and then she decided, they wrote to us, they want to get married. And I came with Abraham, and we came Friday. I came a month before, and I bought for her the flat. Zipporah helped me to find the flat, but they didn't pay. Abraham gave me the money, we had this. We bought there the flat, and everything was all right. And I was for a month already. And Abraham came, and the same Friday he died.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of it. It was terrible. It couldn't have been worse. That couldn't have been worse. Morris came out from America. It's still on.
Mm-hmm.
Morris came out from America to Israel. Charles came out from England. Life I never forgot. After a month, it was the Shiva brochel, and we had to put a stone on, and I was running. I couldn't see on my eyes. I was completely out of action. It was terrible. It couldn't be worse. And at one time, they nearly ran me over. I went out. The Lebanons were very good to me. She used to come and stay with me, and if she had to go away, he used to come and stay with me. They never left me for a month by myself. Kayla was at university, but they stayed with me.
Mm-hmm.
And at one time, I went down to the supermarket, just opposite where she had the flat, and the car brushed through me. I could have been killed. I didn't even see there is a car. I don't know how I lived through, how I came back home. Then the decision was that Kayla and Ellie come together to us. They came here and they got the flat next to 11.
Yeah.
And they stayed maybe for a few months, and Ellie thought he doesn't want to stay.
Tell us, how were they together?
Very nice, a very nice couple. Ellie, at that time, he was working. He was getting his pay, and he was a good worker. And when he came here, he didn't find anything that interested him. And every time we finished dinner, he used to say, "Lecha lishon, lecha lishon." He didn't want to work. He didn't want to. He wasn't interested in anything.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't his. He didn't
Live in the United
already born.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a very beautiful child, but she cried day and night. Kayla used to give Maraiין in the morning in bed, and she must have been 6 months or a year. Maybe she was already a year. Maybe she was already a year or less than a year, or less than a year. And I used to talk to her. And Kayla said, I can make a son to talk. Because I said, Liatinka, this, that, don't shout, you don't leave mommy to sleep. She said, So Kayla said, she's talking to you. And at one night, she was terrible. She cried and cried. Kayla got up to change her. I heard her that she got up, so I also went into the bedroom. Kayla prepared the nappy, and she held her in her hand, and she was very tired, very sleepy, and she said, "To hell!" I started to laugh. I couldn't stop laughing. She said, I've never seen anybody like that in the middle of the night with such a humor. And Liat started to grow up, but she gave them help. But she was beautiful. Uri was photographing her every time. Every time the photo came out more beautiful. You must have a lot of photos. And then I went to the doctor. I came, I wasn't well. I was in a lot of disorder, and Morris said, let me see your throat.
Mm-hmm. You told us about that. You went to England and you were operated on.
So I went to Israel to the doctor. He said I must have an operation. I went to England. Morris was there. He went with me to the doctor, and he said I must have an operation. In meantime, the war broke out in Israel in '67, and I was terribly afraid I will get something will happen to Kayla and the family. I started to write to her that I have to have the operation. Straight away she should come out. She answered me, I am driving an ambulance. I am needed for the war. I will not come now, but the war will be a short one, she said. After the war, I'll come to you. Wait with the operation. I waited. Surely enough, the war was, I think, a 6-day war. She came back. She came to Israel, to London. I waited for her on the airport with a pram, with Liat. Liat must have been a year only. And she came. I went into hospital. I was operated. We stayed all in a flat. Charles came out. Mariam came out with Charles together. They all brought me back from the hospital. It was a very good operation. The doctor said It is not it's not cancer, it's malignant. It's just a big growth as big as a plum. It took down from the
Thyroid.
From the thyroid. And he said, all your life you have to take thyroid. I was in England. After 2 weeks, in the middle of the night, I started to be violently ill. Maraiin and Charles took me to the doctor. I don't remember what was. Taylor was also still there. And they couldn't find what it is. All the night they put me from one X-ray to the other X-ray, from one test to the other test. They didn't know what it is. I was violently ill. My doctor brought me the students, the medical students, to find out what kind of a case it is that I am violently ill and nobody knows what it is. They thought maybe it's gout, maybe something else. I don't remember, but I was in hospital for a longer time. And I recovered. It went away. I came back. Kayla was back to Israel. And I went with the children back to Nairobi. That finished 67.
How did you feel after the war about Israel?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful, the meaning. Eli used to write to me every time, and he sent me badges from the places that they recovered. And it was a feeling of freedom, and a feeling of belongings, and a feeling they were mourning all the dead, but they won the war. And if it wouldn't be for America, that they stopped them to go to Egypt, they would have conquered the war. They would have finished with Egypt, and it would have been. But America and Russia stopped them, if you know. You know about that?
Mm-hmm.
And that was all. Then I started to come to you every year.
When was the first time you went to Jerusalem to see the new city?
To Jerusalem, to the new city, when Liad was already about 3 years. I have pictures. The daddy is playing with her with a ball in that beautiful nurse's garden. All that forest belonged to a mission. And it was a beautiful forest. Through that forest I used to pass and go to the post office. From the forest it was a step.
What was Jerusalem like then?
Very beautiful. Beautiful with a new meaning. People moved in. The Knesset moved in. I went with them for trips. When it was a kind of a holiday, I went with them, and Liat was in the pram. Later on she was already walking. 3 years, 4 years. 4 years, when Liat was 4 years. You were born when Liat was bigger. You were born in 71.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Because
well, I don't remember, but that's when I was born.
Which year are you?
71.
71. Then I came to your bris.
Mm-hmm.
You were shouting, you were crying at the bris. It was terrible. And the mohel was a very clever mohel, the little piece that he cut off, he threw like this. And he said, which girl will happen, and she will marry that year. And all the girls were got their hands like that to hap. And you were shouting, you were bleeding. Anyway, you were lying in the cot, and mother said that God has given you, that as soon as she looked at you, when you were born, she thought you are something a God sent. You have no idea, she said, how much love it was born in me when I saw it. And she had a lot of worry with you. something was wrong with your feet, and you had machines on it. You had such things. You had to go with that to sleep, and you had to be with that. I think on what you had a hard life. So you grew up, and then I have pictures that you are about 7 or 8, that you come with me here and you go with me there. You were a very delicate thin little boy. Very delicate. Like you could blow you away. Not like now a giant. But mother loved you still very much. And I used to come every year and used to go to school. And at one time you said, Granny, give me 50 liras. I said, for what? You said, I lent it from a girl and I have to give her back. I gave you the 50 liras. What did you do with that? I needed that, Granny. Okay. And you went to school and you came from school and the war used to come a lot to you and you used to go to the war. And the boys were coming after you and you were the boys came into the house and out of the house it was like a station. Then, so you were living there in Kiron at that time. You were born in Kiron. After Kiron, Daddy started to look with Mommy for a house. And you find a house in Mavoyoram. I went with you to see Mavoyoram. I loved it. Daddy also liked it very much. He said, all right, I'm taking the house. And it was a man that went away to America. He sold it. And he gave him some 10% for the house, and the house was bought. And in a little while of time, the man moved out, you moved in. It was a house when you moved in. One thing was on top of the other one. I came and I said, my God, when will you make a little order? Everything was in the middle of the room. Anyway, it took a long time till you established yourself, but it was a beautiful house. And so it went on, and Yael was born. Yael was born, I think, in 77. Give me the book, I'll have a look. I never remember. 77 or 78. If 78, 80 is 2 years. No, 73 maybe.
74.
74 to 80 is 6, and 90 is 16. 19, she's 19. She's only 18.
She's 18 now.
What?
She's 18.
18?
Yeah.
If she's 18, so she's 75.
75, sorry, you're right.
75. So she was born in 75. And Kayla came out to us, and it was, something was very wrong with her. She couldn't have the milk, the ordinary milk. She couldn't have this and she couldn't have that. She had to have a special preparation. And Mommy had to do 6 bottles for the day and for the night, and it was in the fridge, and only that she used to have. And it was a lot of trouble. The doctor didn't know what it is, but they said, this upset her, give her only from that thing, this food. So she came here, and I remember she boiled in my kitchen all the stuff. She prepared the bottles, put in the fridge, and every time she gave her a bottle. She was a beautiful child, but not well at all.
Mm-hmm.
Liat started to grow up, and Liat grew up, she's a big girl, and she used to like very much dancing. So she used to go dancing, and when her lesson was finished, she wanted to stay and watch the other girls. And the teacher said, go home. And she came and she cried like anything. I said, why are you crying? She said, she told me to go and I want to watch the other girls dancing. She was terribly interested in that. I asked the teacher, she said no, she cannot stay. She finished her term, she has to go. The other one comes, she can't stay. Anyway, she was going to school, and you were going to school, and you were going to school. And every year I came to you. Every year I was with you. You grew up in my eyes, and where did I sleep? When you were living in Kiron. But Kiron was finished, so now I had a room. Yes, you know, I had a room with my own bathroom near the sitting room. Mm-hmm. The house was big. You had Yael and Liat at the room, and you had the second room. But they had to pass through you. It was a big house. But I said it's not good because the windows were closed. You didn't have enough air through the night. And the yacht had that small room by herself. So it was later on in the house, it was Yael and you. You had the two rooms. And the yacht had a small room with a veranda. And mother had her own bedroom with her own bathroom. And you had another bathroom, I think, and downstairs was a bathroom.
When did we move to Kiryat Ono, to Simchat Arnon?
To Kiryat Ono when Yael was born.
Right.
Daddy didn't want to finish. Daddy wanted to stay on, and I said, no, you have to go into the house because Kayla has to move in before she has the child. She can't stay in Kiron. Where will she have the child, the new one? You have to. And you had to build on the top. You know, you bought the house without a bedroom.
Right.
And you start to build. Anyway, it came out that you went in before the building, and then the building was finished. The yard was born and everything was all right, and I used to come, and Daddy used to work for Cloud. And Mother started to work when the children grow up. The last few years, a take of 85. I think you went to South Africa 85.
85 December, yeah.
85. So you're only 7 years on the 8th, yeah? So when you went to South Africa, the yacht was already in the army.
Right.
And she went over to Kiron to stay with that lady in a room, and I was very unhappy. I said, Kayla, don't allow that. She has to stay on in the house. She has to take a few girls and rent the rest of the rooms, and she mustn't go out of the house. And Father didn't agree. He said, no, somebody will look after the house, and I'm putting the house on the market for sale. And I said to Kayla, if you sell that house, you'll never have a house like that. The money will go. You won't have a house, you won't have money. Don't let him sell the house. The man who looked after the house, a lovely person. He was in love with Leah. He ate her up with his eyes. I said, Leah, this is the boy for you. He came to Kiron and he painted and he repaired things. A lovely boy. You must probably know who it is. The man that stayed in your house. Mm-hmm. And he was a man 1,000. And he wanted Leah. And she wanted Kobe. And I said, Leah, look the difference from Kobe. Ron, I think was his name. Look the difference. He finished university. He works at the airport. He has hands that can do everything. Plumbing, painting, electricity. There isn't a thing he can't do. And he loves you. And he is a little older than you. This is the man for you.
Yeah.
Kuja. You got say more. Hello. Yes, my darling.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, Granny, carry on.
Yeah. But where have we been? What was there and there?
You were talking about that man that was staying in the house
Yes.
and how he liked Liat.
How he loved Leah, and he was eating her up with his eyes. And she looked so beautiful and young and happy. And I was with Mommy in the flat with her. And he helped me to put the flat in order. He repaired it. He painted for me a bedroom. He has done something to the electricity. I liked him and he liked me very much. And I said, I wouldn't mind to have you in the family. And he said, I would love to be in the family. And I spoke to Liat. She said nothing to him. She likes Kobe. I said, look the difference. This is a person that it's for life. And he is all-rounder, and he already works. He finishes university. Kobe has to go and make his university. And Kobe is too young for you. Nothing doing. Kobe is the man. And when I spoke to him something, he said, but she has a boyfriend. Well, I went away with a broken heart. I knew that I live not in a good position. Kayla went back to Johannesburg, I went back to Nairobi. She remained in the flat. And of course, Kobe. I objected Kobe. Maybe it was a mistake because he wasn't Ashkenazi, he was down. But apparently he was from a very good family, and the family was brilliant. The other brother of his was the first one in the school certificate. The father was a director in a bank. Apparently it was a very good family. I didn't know that. But I didn't like Kobe because he looked to me like a little sardine. He was small, he was thin, he was dark, he had a small little face. I couldn't realize how that can be for Liat and for us, for the family. But I couldn't do anything. Liat didn't want to let him off. Then Liat came here on holiday. And she had a very good time. She went for a few trips. And every time she said, oh, if Kobe would be here, if Kobe would be here. She'd never let him out of her mouth. Anyway, she went away back, and it was Kobe. When I rang, I used to ring up very often. Kobe used to take up the telephone. I said, is Liat there? He said, yes, Liat is there. And I spoke to Liat. I still didn't accept him. And then Liat told me, no, she doesn't like Kobe anymore. She doesn't think they can get on. She doesn't think that is a man for her. She's breaking up with Kobe. And she broke up with Kobe. She broke up with Kobe and he was broken-hearted. But she said, well, we are not for each other. This is the best way. I think she was right. So that finished it, and then I came again, and you dismantled the house, and you went away to South Africa. You went away to South Africa, and I came to you when you were still in the townhouse, and I have a picture you standing in the door. You were already a big, beautiful boy, and the house was quite nice. You rented it, and then you start to hunt to buy a house, and you bought a house in Amarentia. And I came to see the house, and I said, Kayla, this house, you have straight away to build a store, because you haven't got where to put the fridge, you haven't got where to put your washing, and I'm not very keen on that house.
Didn't you like the house?
I like the house, but it had to be, we had to build straight away.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to start to build. She can buy something that is what she needs, because the government gave her the money for the house, a reduction, because she brought in the money. But when she builds, that is in her pocket. I said, buy something which is exactly what you need, because here you have to start to build straight away. But your father is a very quick one. He said, no. He doesn't want to get in. You cannot, like, you will tell me something I don't do right. I'll say, but why do you think so? I will want to discuss this. I will want to hear about your point and see that your point is better than mine. But with Daddy you cannot discuss. I said, Kalinka, don't buy the house. In the house you have to spend a lot of money to have what you need. Anyway, they bought the house. Kayla liked very much the house. And to build on, they thought they would be able to be without the building, but it went away a few months, and they saw they have to build. And they started to build, and she was maybe for a year very uncomfortable because of the building. Is it finished, the cassette?
A few more minutes.
So anyway, later on I came in 90. I was very ill. I had a terrible depression. And Charles started to break up the old hotel, and it broke up my house. I saw that he's going to have, for maybe 2-3 years, a lot of trouble with breaking and rebuilding. But he wanted that way, and I felt that he is chaining himself for 3 years, and is breaking up the business, because when you break, we have to, from the other side, to arrange a sitting room. I thought that it is a mistake. I thought that he has to build 20 flats, give out the work, and leave the hotel as it is. While they build the flats, he has to go away and look for his own life, to arrange his life. When they build a flat, he doesn't have to stay and wait. This is a flat. You control the plan, you come every few months, you have a look, and you are not buying. But in the hotel, it's terrible. He's chaining himself. And he didn't want to reach. I said flat, he said break the hotel. And make the hotel more beautiful. And I wrote my, I got a depression. And I was very ill. It came to a point that I felt I'm dying. And I thought to myself, and Maurice was with me all the time on the phone, and he said, I have a professor. No, he sent me a very big doctor from England. I forgot his name. And he saw me, and he prescribed the medicine, and it helped a little bit, but I was still very ill. And Maurice said, I have a professor, this and this, go to him. Yes, go to him. I came to Kayla in Emerentia. She took me to the hospital, to that Jewish professor, and he said, you have cancer, you're finished. He walked away, he left me with Kayla, he looked.
And
Mommy took me to Millfield Hospital.
That's right.
Not very far from you.
Mm-hmm.
And the professor examined me and he thought I have cancer. And he made like this with his hand out to say, she's finished. And he walked away, he left us. So something happened, I don't know where we went for inquiries, and they sent us to another doctor in the same Millfield Hospital. And she was wonderful. She said, go and make this X-ray and this X-ray, Pandeuko. This X-ray and this X-ray and this X-ray. And we brought a bundle maybe of 6 X-rays to her. And she gave me medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And Mommy looked after me like she couldn't have been nicer. She couldn't have been better. I couldn't have imagined that one can be better as she was when I was young. You know, she used to get up 3-4 times in the night and peep in and have a look because I couldn't sleep, and have a look how I had.
Mm-hmm. That was.
And the bed, in the beginning I complained I can't lie. The bed is very bad. My back was bad, not the bed. The bed was good. So we brought more blankets and more cushions, and we tried to bed it out. And in the end, we couldn't do anything more. And I felt I'm not comfortable. But when I start to be better, I find the bed was wonderful, but my back was very bad.
Mm-hmm.
I had a broken vertebrae.
Right.
And the medicine and mother's looking after me and the climate and the pleasure for being with you, I start to be better and better and better. And I must have been with you about 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went away, I was a different person than when I came to you. And I came back home and I said to Charles, I took out myself from the ground. Because when I went away, I felt that this is my last few days. But how it came out that I went to South Africa, I think Maurice wrote that he has arranged for me. It's like that professor that gave me up and said, it's cancer, it's finished. And then I came home, and it was better for a few, I don't remember for how long. And then it started to aggravate me terribly, the building, the breaking up. I saw it as a terrible mistake. Charles was working so hard. He was doing the best, and I thought that he is chaining himself. He will never be able to get away in a month or in 2 months. It is just, I was terribly sorry for him. And I felt if he doesn't see that he is chaining himself, that he will not be able to get away and arrange his life, then my life doesn't interest me anymore. And I felt I would want to die. And I asked David, please David, you're my friend, give me an injection. I haven't got the courage to take something to poison myself. I don't know how to finish my life and I don't want to live. Give me an injection. He said, you know that David that was with us. And he said, Don't be silly, Rachel. A doctor gives life, not death. Anyway, I didn't want to live. It was so long, it looked to me, to struggle for what? If I can't see Charles happy, I don't want to live. And I saw that he is chaining himself. He will not be able to get out the way he goes in. Anyway, I was very ill. He took me to the hospital. Mommy came to see me. And it looked that I'm better. And I had to go out from the hospital. And suddenly I became worse. But I became very badly worse. And he took me into the North Wing. The North Wing did cost 4,000 shillings a day. I didn't know. And at that time I don't think I would have even understood. And I was there day after day, medicines and medicines and medicines. And in the morning she came to give me the bath. I dreaded because she put me in the bath. I couldn't get out. She had to schlep me like this, like a piece of nothing. And I hated everything. And the food I didn't like. And this, which was yesterday, the Gordons came to see me. I was lying in bed, they were begging me, come with us for a walk in the garden. And no, I didn't want to go, I remember like today. They brought me some biscuits or what, and begged me. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was very awkward, cross, uncooperative. I just wanted to die. And so it went on. I was there maybe for 6 weeks. And Charles used to come 3 times a day. He came and he saw me and he talked to me and he brought me this and he brought me that, and then he started to bring me with James Brangina that I liked so much, you know, that Google. And he did everything he could. He used to come with David together and sit in the evening for quite a long time. At one time I remember he helped me a lot. I wanted him to be comfortable, I wanted him to be happy. It didn't work out. Anyway, I was 6 weeks in the hospital. And then the doctor one time came and said, would you like to go home? And I thought, do I want to go home? I don't know. I said, I don't know. But he said, but you know, you could go home, and I'll come and see you every morning. I went home, and he used to see me every morning. I couldn't sleep. I took a sleeping pill. In the morning, I was half dead. And he used to come. And every time he opened the door, and he sat and talked to me. He used to come in the morning at 8 o'clock. I was still half asleep, full of from the medicine. I was like shaker. And he came and talked to me, charged 500 shillings. Talk to me tomorrow, charge 500 shillings. At one time, I must have become a little better. I said, Dr. Jenga, why do you come to me every day and you come early where I want to sleep? You see, I'm half dead from the medicine, from the sleeping pill. You come early morning. Why? You don't give me another medicine. You come to talk to me, but I cannot even talk. Please don't come. I told him, yeah, you are coming because of the money? I was very rude. He said, no, Mrs. Szlapak, no, Mrs. Szlapak. And he went away and he didn't come anymore, so I didn't have to pay the 500 shillings. And slowly, slowly I started to become better. Very slowly. Till Avi, I came next time to you last year, 91 December. At that time, I wanted to go to London, to my doctor that saw me the first time. I again started to be very depressed. And the medicine that I took for such a long time started to, somehow I felt that it's too much in my system of that medicine. I need another one.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenga didn't want to give me another one. And Morris was here, and I said, Morris, I want to go to the doctor. I would like to go to London. So he said, look, a lovely, a terrible fly wants to eat my nose. Look. So he said, but if you want to come to London, you have to take with you James, because who will wash you, who will iron for you, who will give you the food. You have to, you can't come by yourself to us. You have to come with James. I thought, my God, James will never come with me. He has a sick wife. He will not want to go away from his home. Every Sunday he runs home. How will he go with me to London? And then it is so cold, he'll die there, that thin little fellow. I said, Morris, I cannot even suggest you should come. And he stood over me, I was in bed, and he said, so tell me, is it going to be south or north? South or north? I thought in my head, what shall I tell him? No, that means to him, he wants only I should get James. I cannot come with James. I said, but Morris, I can pay. Get me there somebody to look after me. He said, you can't get in England anybody to look after you. We will take you to London to the doctor and bring you back, but you must have somebody with you. I said, in that case, I have to go south. And Charles rang up Solly. He said, Mother is here. She needs to go to the doctor. Could you have her? Solly answered, not only have her, but will come out with music and with the red carpet. That was his answer. And then we asked him, what could I bring you? He said, a big elephant and 2 big giraffes. Solly Gannon. Anyway, Phyllis waited for me. I took the plane. Phyllis waited for me, brought me home. She was very good to me. I had a beautiful room, my own bathroom. Early morning she used to come in and bring me tea. They are a house that they don't eat. I don't know how they live. For me it wasn't enough food, but I could go to the kitchen and take what I wanted. And she always used to ask me, maybe you want this, maybe you want that. But she didn't eat. Solly went away early morning with a plate of porridge. That was the breakfast. And there wasn't anything on the table. But she took me to the doctor. She brought me back. Then you came in. Then you were taking me to the doctor. You were taking me to buy a dress, you remember? And you were taking me somewhere else, and it was very good because you came. It was you. And you came upstairs to me and we ate grapes, you remember? And it started to be very wonderful. And then the Mendelssohn came, she came to see me, and Daphne came to see me, and Solly was very, he gave me the car and the girl, a driver, and she took me to buy shoes, and then I bought the shoes, and the shoes weren't good, and then I had to go and change, and I couldn't get what I wanted, but they were to me very good. And then I went to your mommy, and when I went to your mommy, I became a different person. I came into your house, and somehow all the illness fell away from me. The doctor used to ring me up, the professor, Art. He used to ring me up. So I said, I'm still not all right. I want more of the medicine or less of the medicine. I always had to ask him to do something. And then he rang Kayla, and she said, but I can't see it. To my mind, my mother is completely all right. She disarranged all my house, she said. She did my cupboards, and she did my store, and she's everywhere in the corner. I think she is all right. And he talks to me tomorrow, and I have complaints. And he said, but your doctor said that you rearranged their cupboards. Anyway, I felt, and mother ran with me. She wanted I should have some company, so she find out somebody has a tea, some ladies. So she took me to that tea, and then she took me somewhere else, and then we went to shul, and I met a man from King David. I told you about it. I gave him your address, and I rang you. I wanted you to go there, but you didn't want to go, and we were invited to him. He said, a Jewish family is here for a year, and nobody knows about them, and you didn't do anything for them. He had complaints to the community that they didn't encourage mother and father. They are new people. Anyway, then we met a few families, and they started to invite us, and we invited them. It became, and I was all right. I came back I left, I think, February. I was maybe nearly 6 weeks. I have it in the book. Anyway, I came back with the medicine, and I started to be, it changed completely the medicine. It's exactly as I thought. He said, Professor Hart said, tomorrow you take, instead 3 pills, take 2. After tomorrow, take 1. After tomorrow, take nothing. For 3 days, leave your body should clean itself out from the medicine, then start with mine. And I started like this, with these. And when I came, I brought the same medicine. I'm still taking the same. Today, it's more than a year. And now I want it again. I feel that I have to change the medicine. And that's why I would want to go. I have on my table that I go on Monday or Tuesday when you go away, not Monday because I'll be busy with you. I want to go to my doctor and ask him that he should write to Professor Hart if he would suggest another medicine, because I feel this one I have too much in my system. Now I have a lot of pain in my tummy, and I feel good, I feel different, but I'm very tired. Maybe it's the age, it should be like that. Everybody tells me, but look, somebody else at that age doesn't do anything. I also feel that I'm lucky, but I feel that it can be, something could be done to make it better. So after the wedding, I will go to your mother. I will go to Soli, I will see the professor, and then I will be with mother for a little while, and I hope that everything will be all right, if I won't fall. So this is where we are now. Now my idea is, when you go away, to see, on the 27th is the Independence Day. I cannot go to Mombasa on the 27th before, because I wouldn't come in time, and I don't want to miss it. So I will go to Mombasa on the 29th. Remind me tomorrow, I have to ring up just now, Charles. We have to fax the manager of Mombasa about the price for the flat in Mombasa, because people are asking the price. I have to see about the furniture in that flat. I have to see about repair in Yali. Is it finished now?
No, carry on.
In Yali. I have to do quite a lot of work and then relax a little bit and come back. And on the 14th of June, I think is the best thing for me to go to Israel. 14th of June, if I go, I stay with the yacht Yuteller a few days. I arrange what I have to arrange in Tel Aviv. Then I go to Sen. Then we come to the wedding. The wedding is on the 12th July. I would like to leave after a week. On the 19th, there is a plane. Please God, if everything is all right, if I won't fall, if I won't get again ill, I can never know. I don't know today what's going to be tomorrow. I don't know, because it changes in my position. A bad move. Yesterday I went through, yesterday or today, I went through and I touched my hands like this. And the skin opened and I was bleeding. So I ran quickly, I washed with Dettol and I put on a Schmid. I don't know. So everything is, if God willing, it'll work out. I think it'll be all right. I think I would, by 19th of July, I would be back here. I would stay for 2 months and then go to Kayla. Go to see Professor Hart and be with Kayla at least for a month.
Right.
My hope is also that they could be able, we will know on Monday when we go to talk to the manager of Allow, to Mr. What is the surname?
Nevo. Nevo.
Nevo. Mr. Nevo, if it would be possible from whether they fly from East London to Israel, whether it is cheaper, they come here and from here to go. It's up to what he will tell us. So this is the position. Now what else can I tell you now? What would you want to know? We said that I forgot to tell you about the Tumevalnik, but that's not interesting. That I told you today lunchtime.
Right.
About I and Soli and Seb, we constructed a umevalnik, that is a wash arrangement to wash your face. Yeah, just to wash your face and your hands. Is that interesting?
So, yeah, tell us, we had lunch today, right?
We had today lunch with Mrs. What do I call her, Simka? I forgot her name already. Mrs. Simka and the daughter. And they are vegetarian, so we prepared a lovely lunch. And then we talked, and I remembered about the Jewish writers, Emil Zola, and I read to you a bit, and then we spoke about Liat and about Yossi, and then we spoke about my home, Lapi, how we used to, you didn't have water in the house. You had a man that used to bring you water for the day. And then you had a basin and a little cup, a big one, that you poured on your hand the water, you washed yourself, and the water ran in the basin. The basin was standing on an high chair. And then we thought that we could design a umevalnik. So me and Soli and Sam, I think. Or was it with Sam? I think it with Soli and Sam. We went to a plumber and we said, buy for us tin. And with that tin, you construct for us a square things like that, and it'll stand on another box of tin with legs. But inside it'll be like a tank with a door, and we will put in the water in it. So the water will be in the tank. Then we will mold in a tap. So we will have the water and the tap.
Mm-hmm.
So we open the tap and we wash our hands. It's again completely different. Then we will make a square thing, a box, where the tank was standing. We will make a hole, put in a basin, and in the basin we'll make a hole and mold in a long pipe. And the pipe will go in a pail. And that box will have a door which will open, the pail will stand there, and while you wash, the water runs to the pail. And when the pail will be full, we throw it out. How do you throw out the water? I think in the garden, like that. So it was, and then we painted it white. And there was a place for the soap underneath. It was something out of the ordinary. My God, the town started to know that we made a umevalnik. And everybody started to come and look at the wonderful thing what we have made. They came and they looked and they said, open up the tape, open up, it will go to water. I said, of course it will go to water. Look, I washed my hand and the water ran in. It was something out of the ordinary. Well, we made that to Mevalnik, and then Sam said he doesn't want to stay any longer in Lappe. He wants to go to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to go to Israel, but you cannot go to Israel because you haven't got a visa to Israel. So you have to make false paper and a false passport. And there is a man that does that. So you give him money and he makes everything. And he says, good, you come with me to Berlin, and from Berlin, I will give you the boat to go to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam went to Berlin, and they were learning the name. He is not more Sam Gorfield. He is, this and this name, another name, the name what he got, the passport.
Right.
And there were many boys like that, and he told us that they used to go in a line like you go with the Sefet. My name is this and this, my father is that and that, I come from this. Then he told us everything. We were lying on the floor from laughter. But it wasn't a laughter, he was very upset. And there he met a man that went to Litva, from Johannesburg to Litva, to help his family and marry off his sisters, and he was going back to Johannesburg, and he was staying in the same hotel. And he was very interested in Sam, and he said, Sam, I know what is going on with you. In case you will not be able to go to Israel, you write to me, I'll send you papers. Surely enough, Sam couldn't go to Israel. The journey was cancelled. He came back to Lappe, and he started to say he wants to go. And he writes to Gilgen, and Gilgen sends him the paper. But we haven't got the money. You need to have money to go to South Africa. It's a lot of money. And he wants the money, and we haven't got the money. So he strikes. He doesn't eat. So he goes away in the garden, and he doesn't eat. He lies in the grass like that. I go to give him food, he pushes me away. I go next time, he pushes me away. At one time it was already, I thought, 3 days he didn't eat. I came, and I fell on him. And I started to kiss him and cry and say, what do you want? How can you punish us like that? We want the best for you, but we haven't got. But Mommy said she'll go and she'll try to borrow some money. And we'll try, we'll do the best, but eat. We don't want you to die. He came back home. Mother went to, we had a bakery. I told you lunchtime the name, now I forgot. Chaim, I think. Chaim the baker. I forgot. And Mommy told him she needs the money. We'll give you back. And he lent her the money. We gave them the money. He went away to South Africa in 1925. And we remained with Soli and Simcha.
How old was Sam then?
How old was he? He went away in 1925, and he is born in 1933, in 1908. So how old was he? In 25, and he was born in 8. No, he was born in 5 and in 7.
Mm-hmm.
Take off 7 from 25, 18?
Mm-hmm.
He was 18.
Right.
He went away with 18. And as soon as he started to earn money, he got straight away a job, but they exploited him. Where he worked and the other South Africans worked, he used to get up. Yael in school, and she came to stay with me. To help Charles, to relieve him a little bit and to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
And every day she came at 8 o'clock in the morning. She stayed till lunchtime. Lunchtime I had a fight to just throw her out. She should go and rest a little bit. She could have rested for 1 hour, have lunch, and she was back with me till the evening. Charles came 3 times a day, but she was all the day with me. She washed my feet, she cut my nails, she went with me for a walk. She thought if she will walk me a lot, I will become better.
Right.
She pulled me like anything. Walk, walk, quicker, 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 come, come, come. I walked with her. And then at that time I had a girl sitting in the hospital, an African girl, night and day. Besides the nurses, she didn't have to leave me for 2 minutes. And while Mommy was with me, she was outside because we want to talk. So I told her to go outside. And Mommy was with me for 5 solid weeks. In the night, she used to sleep in my bed, here in my bedroom. And in the morning, so she was all by herself in the house. Of course, James looked after her, but what could he do for her if she was all the day with me in the hospital? Mommy was wonderful. And she was with me and she helped me in every respect she could. We were talking about the old days, we were talking about Liad, we were talking about you. Where have you been? That was, you were in America that time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were in America. So you were at school, and Yael was at school, and she left everybody, and she was staying with me. And then after 5 weeks, she went back home. I missed her terribly. The last day when she left me in hospital. And she came to say goodbye. She came with me the day, and in the night she had to go, I think, or tomorrow morning, I don't remember. But when she went away, I felt like Nairobi is gone very small. Kayla is not here, but Charles felt it. Charles, Dr. David came very often.
Mm-hmm.
There was a tenant in one of the flats. She used to come. She wanted to teach me knitting, but I said, no, I haven't got the patience. And in the end, as I told you, that I went I came back home, and Jenga didn't come anymore, and I started to come better and better, and slowly I started going in the business.
What did Mommy get into the business? Was she doing?
Yes, she was doing quite a lot, yeah. Charles told her to do that and told her to do that. She helped Charles quite a lot, yeah.
Uh-huh.
When she had to help Charles, she was late for me quite a few hours, yeah. And she told me, I have done that. And I said, but why did you come? Help him more. Do more for Charles. I am all right. The girl is here. And the nurses are here. And I'm in hospital. They look after me. And they give me the medicine. Go and help Charles. Go stay with him. Do for him something. She did what she could. And she went away. She wanted to buy a few pots. I said, go in the government road. There is a shop where I used to buy. Try and buy there. I think she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. She didn't have the time. She was over with Charles or with me, and the time finished and she had to go. So that was that. That was the first time. The next time that I came to you, you were already in East London. And then it's now, it was in February that I came back last year, in 92. It's now 93 April, so it's a year and 2 months. And therefore I think that I need to change the medicine. I don't think I can do anything in Israel. I don't think I like to start with new doctors. I think my best bet is, the doctor from South Africa should should prescribe something else. And at one time when I don't sleep, I thought to write a letter to him and tell him, why doesn't he come here on holiday?
Mm-hmm.
At one time when I was there, I asked him. He said, yes, one day I will come. So I thought I will write to him, and I will talk with Jenga about it to change the medicine. I don't want in Israel to go, and I will not go to England, so it's the same. I have to go through South Africa.
Granny?
Now that you have come,
Mm-hmm.
it was, I waited for you to come, you have no idea. Every time I wrote to you, first you had to come in December, then it finished. Then you said you'll come in January. Then you came only in March. And now you're going already on Monday.
Tuesday.
I will miss you terribly.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful to have you. And I feel much better than I felt, although I'm tired, although I feel that I have to change the medicine. But still I do a lot of work now. And how to say, I do a lot of work also with tailor here. Look how much there is, the mending and the repairing and the doing new things. And next week I have a big project to finish the city for flat number 5. I can't get webbing time doing my own webbing from Asian. I want to make a sample. Charles wants new curtains in the, we call it the, what do we call it? The, not reception room. We call it the banquet room, where the fishes are. So they want new curtains. I show the material which I have. I have to make a sample, one curtain to hang up and see how it looks. And then I have to see whether I have enough material, which I know I haven't got enough. I need another piece. I have to go and see whether the same design still exists. And there is 1,001 things that we are going to do now new, and I have to do this with my own tailor. There is all the time a lot of work, and then the work in my office. To come into the office, Eliana.
You come. When do you come to your office in the morning?
Mostly I come in at 10 o'clock. I get up early, and till 10 o'clock I'm finished with arranging the house, with ringing to the office, my office to find out what they are doing and tell them what to do, this, that. All the time I have something to arrange and talk to Eliana, and then I have to do with the tailor a lot of things, and then I have to arrange my house, and then at 10 o'clock I go to the office. As usual, I have a lot of bills that I keep for a few days. I bought this and I bought that. I have to arrange everything, go and make a cash account, take the money, and I see what I have to do in town. Today I had to go. My eyes, I went to the doctor, and the doctor is not happy with my eyes. I am also not happy with my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
Very well.
Yeah. Well, he finds that something is not right on the retina, so he said he doesn't think he could do anything for that. I have an infection in the here in the corners, but he said that will pass by, it will come by itself. But I need to change my glasses. He gave me a prescription. It's for a week that I have the prescription. I haven't got the time to go. And every time I need to read, and I read a lot because I don't sleep.
Right.
I'm blue. My eyes, my glasses are not good anymore. It's blue. So I break like that and look to catch and be able to read. I make a bigger. Charles gave me a bigger bulb, and I need the glasses. Today I would have gone at the time, but there wasn't a driver. The drivers were out, all of them. We had a big party today from 250 people for lunch, and all the drivers went today. And then they had to go and bring the things, and I couldn't get the driver.
Right.
Till you came in at 12:30. But by 12:30, all the work which I finished in the hotel, and here I didn't have any more strength. I was finished. And you came in, you said, let us make a cassette.
You were very tired.
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I fell into bed. And we had lunch, and I went to sleep. I slept for not long, because they came in for lunch. So how could I sleep?
Yep.
They came in at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I slept maybe 20 minutes, I rested. And then, of course, they went away via making the cassette. So that's all.
Granny,
No.
let's change direction.
Yeah.
The wedding in July
Yeah.
and going to Israel in June.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Tell us what you're going to do and how you feel about the wedding.
Well, I want to give you everything about the wedding. You go away now. I want to give you the sheets and pillowcases and other things, everything that you might need and mommy might need. This is a big thing. Then I want today, when we finish, you have to make all the addresses I have to give you to people. Then I feel very happy that I can go to the wedding. For me, it is something, a big simcha, because Eliat is getting married. It's wonderful. She is going to be Mrs. What's the surname?
Yaron.
What?
Yaron.
Yaron. She's going to be Mrs. Yaron. And a married couple is different than a boyfriend.
Yeah.
It is a complete different setup. And she has them, the Yarons, The mother is very nice and the father. Apparently they are lovely people. I got from Mrs. Yaron a letter, and she said, I wish you to have such a lot of nachas from your grandchildren as I have from Leah. So that is a lot from a mother-in-law to say. And Leah tells me every Friday she is with them. So she gets a family.
Yep.
It's much easier for her. We will, the wedding is going to be to me a most wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I will be with her, I will see her, I will see the home, I will see how she arranges, and I will bear the wedding from my granddaughter. It's a great thing. I will see you, I will see Mommy, I will see Dad, I will see Yael, Sam, all the family will come together. Hannah, Menachem. I like them very much, you know. And to be with Sam like please God, if I can go, if everything will be all right. And God helps me that my plan should be able to go through. So I'll be with Sam a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Sam I like very much. Then I want to arrange what I told you. And that is a must. That is on my shoulders. I feel that, God forbid, if anything happens to me, then it's not arranged. But I want to arrange it with my own hand. With my own, yeah. I wanted to arrange that. Then Israel I also miss very much, to tell you the truth. I like Israel. And I haven't been to Israel maybe for 4 years. It is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be with you twice a year sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be wonderful, and I'm very happy about it. It's wonderful. What else would you like to know? What did we forget? Did I forget anything? Did I say anything? How lovely it is with you that nobody thought of making this cassette.
Yeah.
And you were the one that you started to make the cassette. I really didn't think it can be done in that short time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have managed to do that, to do the cassettes, to go to Charles, to change it into a big cassette, and to finish a job like this, and to give me one for myself, which I want a copy, and with one you will go to Israel. So what are we short now for the copies?
I will make everybody in the family a copy of this cassette.
Yeah.
I'll send.
But now, let us step by step. You are going away with a copy. You are leaving me now the copy. Where did you get another cassette?
I bought it.
Today, but you haven't gone.
Friday.
How many cassettes did you buy?
4.
No. You bought 4 cassettes? Oh yeah, let my time come. How much did you pay for a cassette?
No, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. You are wonderful. You bought cassettes and you bought roses that you gave me and Charles. That is wonderful. Really, even James says, Yaya Mazuri Sama. That means he is very good. Yeah, James. And the roses are really beautiful. So what else can we, to finish up that cassette? What else can we say?
Do you want
What did I
to?
forget?
We didn't talk about Alex and Gabby at all.
Yes.
What do you remember of Alex and Gabby when they were
Well,
young?
Alex, I didn't see maybe for 4 years. That's all. Because 4 years ago when I was in England, she used to come to my flat. We used to meditate together. She taught me how to meditate. Lie on my bed and she said, take a word in your cup and we meditate. And then I used to go out with her for lunch. And then she's a lovely girl. She has a heart of gold. Then I used to come to them for weekends, to the palace in Ichenabad. The house is very beautiful. Kathy is a great palaboste. She puts the house and she grows flowers and she grows vegetables. Yeah, it's still on. And Gabi came and Gabi. Let me talk about Gabi. So Alex is not so happy because it's difficult for her to come to a stage where she'd have a record of her own with her singing. It is still not accepted, a record. And she sang in a few places. She has a nice voice, but it's not my style of music because it's the young. It's not what I like
Yiddish songs.
Yiddish songs like the Yiddish Mame or Israel songs like Jerusalem of Gold or the others or the Schulnitten. My taste is different, but she has talent. Only it is very difficult for her. She would like to be popular like her father is. Of course, her father took a wonderful profession and he had the calling for it. He has the guts, he has the strength, he has the cleverness, he has everything for it. She has the voice, but there are thousands others that have better voices. And it is a rat race, her profession. So she has a talent, but she's a nice girl. Gabi is very talented. She is clever. She has a lot of guts in herself. She has passed her exams. She's a good doctor, and she now even goes in research in father's profession in
surgery?
Kidneys.
Right.
Yeah, and she'll go far, that girl. So that is Gabi. Morris is very popular, very clever. He will want in a few years' time, he will want to retire. Then he will go in research. Kathy is at home. She is 60. She's only 2 years younger than Morris. And she looks after herself very wonderful. She looks 20 years younger than she is. She dresses very beautiful. She looks after herself very much. She looks young and very well dressed. And she has her routine. She gets up in the morning. She's a very small eater. She makes her face and she makes her figure and she makes her hair and she's always groomed very nice. And she's a good shopper for the house, but they eat very little. In Kathy's house, you're also hungry. She also doesn't give you food because she doesn't eat. For her, if she had a cup of soup with a toast, it's a good lunch. In the morning, a toast and a cup of tea is a wonderful breakfast. For me, it's not enough. Evening, she makes her dinner at 8 o'clock, and she cooks very beautiful and very tasty, but very little. And Morris comes, his food is in the oven. I'm always aggravated. It dries up, it has no taste. He comes and he hops, and he eats, and he runs into his study to study and to write and to dictate. He is a very busy person, and he doesn't look after himself. No. Anyway,
pub?
He's a wonderful, they are a family. What can I tell you? They see each other very often. They come together. What is it you call her or something?
No.
Well, so that I told you. What else would you want to know?
Tell me a little bit about Eliana and Mark.
Eliana and Mark. Well, Eliana and Mark, they are a wonderful pair. Mark is a nice person. Mark is a nice person, a very warm person, and a sensible person. And together with Eliana, they are a lovely pair. They are two professionals. It's a very great improvement for the hotel to have the two of them. I love them both.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy because Charles is happy. Charles Ezer near him. And you remember we had twice already dinner with her on Friday night. The way she arranges everything. The way she cooks, the way she made. She's only in the house 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the house is already like she would be 3 years there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so about Eliana, I'm very happy also that she went into the housekeeping because I can teach her a lot. That's what I was doing for 50 years in the business. Whenever it comes to something that she has to decide, I can give her the real explanation. So while we go on like this, I am very useful to her, and she, in the other hand, makes me happy that I don't feel that if I want to go away, or I have to stay in the house longer, or I don't feel well,
Mm-hmm.
I know that she is there.
Mm-hmm.
This is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And she's lovely. And Mark, I think, has been on her a very good influence. 2 years ago or a year ago, when she was in the kitchen and running the restaurant, she was not nice. She asked for me things that I should give her, but she never wanted to explain why she wants it. If I want to ask her, is it going into the inventory? Who is going to look after that? She used to say, don't worry. She never gave me the answer I asked her. She always said, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
And she was harsh, she was very harsh. But she's today a different girl. She's dead. She was a different girl. So anyway, I'm happy with her, very happy. And I like her very much, and I like Mark. Yesterday, you remember,
Mm-hmm.
we had dinner,
Right.
and then I felt very low. I felt my heart was going like that. And I felt I have to go to lie down. I cannot sit any longer. I didn't want to announce that I don't feel well. I'm going away from the table. I thought I'll sleep out like that. I'll lie down on Charles's bed, and I will rest, and I will come out to that sitting room. But it didn't take 20 minutes. Mark was with me and near me. Nobody of you noticed that I am not at the table. You didn't come. Charles didn't come. Eliana didn't come. But Mark came in. And Mark said, what's it, Granny? How do you feel? Are you ill? I said, no, Mark, I'm not ill. But I'm very tired. I need to lie down. Shall I bring you coffee? I said, no, don't bring coffee. You're now having pudding. By the time you finish the pudding, you come into the sitting room. you will ask for tea. By that time, I'll come out. I'll feel rested and I'll feel better. Don't worry. 3 times he asked me, but can I bring you something else? But can I bring you pudding? I said, no, pudding I don't want. I had enough and I want only to rest. Ma, go to the table, don't worry about it. But nobody of you did that. And like this, it's all the time the same. He is the one that he will open the door for me. He is the one that I come out from shul, he is near me. He has a, I don't know how you call it. What would you call this?
Affection.
I think affection. And, but he's a young man. I'm an old woman to him. He knows me only now a few months, 6 months. From September, say 8 months. But it's affection and it's also goodness.
Yeah.
It's goodness. He has, and he's intelligent. So I'm also happy with Mark. What else would you like to know?
Danny and Eitan?
Eitan, I'm very sorry for Eitan. He is now much better than he was. He gave us a lot of trouble. And he knows it. He gave Father hell. How Charles could go through the last few years since he graduated, he gave him hell. I can tell you, I don't know how Charles stood it. Because a few times I was so aggravated with him. He was really impossible. But things, the last time when he had like a brain clash, he was completely out of his mind. Charles went with him to England, deposited him in that place. It is now nearly a year. Kathy does a lot for him, she rings.
Tell me how he's doing and what he's done. And
Well, he was a wonderful, he was very wonderful in Switzerland. He graduated with very good honors and the teachers loved him. He has many very good pictures with them. And then he went away, he was a year in a university that I didn't like very much, in Ritz. And he changed to Boston, and the university is called Tufts. And he is now finishing 2 years of, no, how do you call business?
Bachelor of Arts?
No, like your father is economics and business management. And he's clever, he's very good, he tries his best, it costs a fortune, and it's wonderful of Charles that he can do this for him. And he is very often with him on the phone. They are very, very close together. He's a wonderful son, and Charles is a most wonderful father to him. He takes him out every holiday, which costs a lot, but this is how Charles feels, that he has to see him every holiday, and this is how Daniel feels that he has to be every holiday home. The last holiday, for 2 last holidays, he wanted to learn to fly. He has managed to fly, to learn to fly, he has managed, I think he has 100, I'm not so sure, I think more than 100 hours flying. He got a license that he can fly a small plane with a few people. A one-engine plane. He took us to Eliana.
Really?
Yeah, he rented the plane. He took us, me, Charles, Eitan, and Charles had a friend from America, and she also came with us. We arrived there to Eliana. We arrived on Friday, I think. We stayed till Sunday evening. Eliana managed to feed us lovely and keep us wonderful, and for everyone was a bed. And then we flew back, and in the middle of the way, Daniel asked whether he can land in Nairobi, and they asked for them, sorry, he cannot land because there is a lot of clouds, the weather is not for landing.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't take much. He said, what am I to do? This is the decision. He said, he thinks the best thing is we go back. He turned the plane, boom, like this. When he turned the plane to go back to tighter hills, I was sure we are going to fall down. Because we were on top of a hill, like that. But he made it so quickly, and with so much skill. And we came back to Taita. Eliana didn't believe. We rang her up because she is far. And she said, yes. I said, yes, we are back.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed there till the evening, I think, till in a few hours' time. Mm-hmm. The weather was better. Daniel rang. They said, yes, now you can come. We climbed again into the aeroplane, and we came, please, got back to Nairobi. So in that respect, he has the license, he's a clever boy. He wasn't terribly nice to me. There must have been a reason, I don't know. Really I don't know. But anyway, I hope that it'll never happen again. And we are expecting him now to come. He is going to come, I think, in June.
Mm-hmm.
I think in June he's coming, and he will be working here in Nairobi in a bank. So that's about the lot what you want to know.
Will he be finished his degree this year?
No, another year.
Mm-hmm.
He has a full year.
Mm-hmm.
If he finishes in December 63, he has 64. Another year, he has 94. A year and 64. In the end of 64, he will be finished.
94.
94, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. Now, when we came from back from Israel, and I came without Abraham, and Abraham was buried on the Har HaMenucha, they call it, in Israel. That is on the Hill of Rest in Jerusalem. Well, what can I tell you? It was something that it's impossible to describe. The sorrow, the breaking up of, to be together. I was with Abraham from 1928 till 65. So it's 37 years. It was terrible. But Charles came with me back. I don't remember whether Kayla came with Ellie together, whether they came later. But they came, and they started with Charles to help him. Kayla to help me in the housekeeping, and Ellie to help Charles. But it didn't work. Ellie didn't like. He didn't like it here. He didn't feel well here. He wanted to go back to Israel. They stayed for a short while, and they went back. It was a terrible shock to me, because my idea was that Kayla will be here, and I will see their children here and be near to them. It didn't work out. They went away, and they went back to Jerusalem, I think. Then I remained with Charles, and Charles started to reorganize the Fairview Hotel.
He came back from England.
Yeah, he came back from England when Daddy died. He left his studies.
He was studying law.
He was studying law and business management. And he had already a year or more than a year. He left everything and he had to come without Charles. We had to sell the hotel. Nobody, I couldn't do anything. I could do with Charles, but Charles had to be here. Well, Charles agreed and he came. He took in his hand the fare of the hotel. He was working very, very hard. In the beginning, he didn't know. He was away. He was away for about 2 years. He managed, started to reorganize. It was a monthly hotel. He started to change it into a day hotel. When he came in 65, we had people that were working in town and they stayed in the hotel and they paid very little per month. Slowly, slowly this finished up. He started to make per day. He advertised a lot. He was in the office all the time. He advertised the office. And I started to do the housekeeping. And of course, a lot of things he didn't know, he asked me, because I was with Daddy all the time when he was away in England. So I could give him quite a lot of whatever he wanted to know, and whatever I could tell him, it was very useful to him. And he went on like this, and people started to like him very much. He collected very good people in the office, and he started to bring in new ideas, and he started to advertise a lot, and he had also to run the Manor Hotel. He had to go every month, sometimes more, sometimes less, but he was all the time on the phone, and letters, because he was leading the Manor Hotel. He had a manager, but he was the chairman of the company. He was the writing of the checks. And I took over the rooms. So I had the rooms of the Manor Hotel. I had the rooms of the Fairview Hotel. I had to arrange, first of all, we had beds which were sofas, like on springs. And the, what is it, Wanzen. Bucks came in. And slowly, slowly I had to send out all the beds like this to the auction. We cleaned them up, we sent to the auction, and we start to buy good beds with springs. So first of all, I think I must have taken out 100 beds and bought 100 beds. Find the people who are doing the cheapest way and the best way for beds, for springs, for spring beds with my woolly ends. Then we had spring mattresses. The springs were starting to get broken. We sent the spring mattresses away and we start to buy Dunlopilo. I went a few times when you were in Israel. When I went to Israel, I find out that there is a Daddy helped me to find out there is a factory, Atta. And I rang from your house, from Jerusalem, and the manager of Atta came out to see me, and he brought me the sample, and I sent the sample to Charles, and he inspected that the material is good. He sent back a telegram, and I ordered the sheets with the name of Fairview Hotel. The first one was 1968. That's only 3 years after Daddy died.
Granny, at the time when Abram died, were you established financially? Did you still have a lot of mortgages to pay?
Oh, a tremendous amount. Charles started to sell and pay off. I forgot to tell you that. It was a lot of debts. Charles sold a lot of things. He sold the Parklands Hotel, he sold the Gaylords Hotel, and he sold the Erlingham. He sold 3 hotels. And he made money and he paid off the debts. He said he cannot live in such a in such a lot of mortgages.
Mhm.
So you saw he paid off a lot.
Mhm.
He made himself cleaner,
Mhm.
and he was working very hard
Mhm.
with all his heart. He learned more and more of the business. He met more and more people that he needed them for tax purposes, to know how to arrange things. He had to have an accountant. We had an accountant, Joke, a very good accountant. Then when Joke died, he took another accountant, but he had a lot of work to do. Charles was working very, very hard. And we went on very well. Then Mariam, then they bought their house, and I was terribly upset that I will not be able to see Eliana so often. And to get there, we couldn't be in one house. I was very upset. I was terribly upset. I thought I will not be able to live if I won't see Eliana every day. They were living in flat number 9. I was in 12. So every morning she was down and she came to me, and I saw the ayah and I saw her, and we were always together. And here suddenly they went away to the house. I remained by myself.
Was the house
A good success, a very good house, a very good buy. But before, how was it that, wait a moment, how was it when Abraham died? I wanted to tell you something, but maybe I will remember in a moment what I wanted to tell you, how it came out. No, I will tell, it will come. Anyway, they had the house, and then they decided that she wants a house, and I went with her together, and we looked and we looked and we looked, and I find the house. I find the house somehow, I can't remember now. I find the house, and I thought I was going with her and looking for houses. Yeah. And we went a lot. And then at one time I passed by and I saw that house, and I thought this would be a good house for them. It's next to the shop. And I started to ask, who is the owner of that house? And they said to me, Unga.
Mhm.
Unga Limited. So I rang up in Unga Limited, and I said, I've seen that house. It's very good for us because it's next to the hotel. We need a house. Would you sell it? And they said, no. The manager told me, no, we are not selling. And I said, you know what? If you will want to sell the house, we would give you always much more than anybody else, because it's next to the hotel, and the manager of the house, the chairman, needs a house. Surely enough, in a year's time, they decided they want to sell the house, and they rang me up.
Mhm.
And Charles was in England. So I went with Mariam, and she saw the house, and she loved it. I didn't like. I liked the proximity, the nearness, and everything, and the big piece of land. But the house was very old, and when you walked, the woods were under you, jumping, because it was empty underneath. And it was old stylish house, and I don't like old stylish houses. But Mariam said, this is just what she wants. So we called the agent, we called the man, he said it's with the agent. We called the agent, who was a very great friend of ours, and he said, yes, but he has to put this on the market, otherwise it will look like a swindle.
Mhm.
Whatever anybody will give, and it will be the last price, the Ungar will agree, then he will tell us. If we will want to pay that amount, we will have that. It was like that one morning he rang us up. He said, it's 10,500 pounds. That they agreed to sell. If you want, you have to pay. And Jock was here. I said, Jock, we have to run and give 1,050 pounds, 10% for the house. And he came with me, and I signed the check, and Mariam was in end. And we rang up Charles, he was in England, and we told him all about it. He said, if we want a house and this is near, of course it's good. We had the house, and Charles came, and they moved out of the flat, and they moved in the house, and they started to do a lot. They put in, the house was like a very unmodern, and the wood was trembling under your feet, but they straight away, they edge-to-edge carpet, and they had done a lot. They spent maybe twice as much as the house cost, because the garden was nothing. It was black cotton soil, a grass didn't even grow. And Charles has done everything. Charles and Mariam have made from the house a paradise. But I was terribly unhappy because I lost them. They were so good to me when Abraham died, and they stayed in flat number 9. They never had lunch or dinner by themselves. They come down to the downstairs, and in the evening they sat with me, finished dinner, watched television, and then went to sleep. They used to have their shower, come in the dressing gown, have food, and then go to sleep at 10, 10:30 when I went to sleep. For a year it was like that, till I sort of cooled up a little bit and I could open my eyes. I was frightened for months to go out in the street here. Anyway, they were wonderful. And then Eliana came, and Eliana started to grow up, and I was mad about her. And then suddenly we bought their house, and they go away, and I remained by myself. I thought my world is finished. I was so upset and so broken-hearted. I took a ticket, went to Sam to cry. Sam said, but my God, what do you want? They are around the corner. They can come to you, you can go to them. I said, but it's not the same. I am working in the hotel, so I had them all the time. So I cannot run to them. Anyway, I got over it. We couldn't move in together. I wouldn't agree to be in a room. I remained upstairs, they went away. Slowly everything settled down, and everything was all right. Eliana was growing up. Daniel came. Daniel had bended legs like this round one. He walked like that. I thought he will never have straight legs. Today is like a tree. And then Ethan came. And then, of course, the tragedy that Mariam died. But Charles was wonderful. Charles has done to the hotel. If not for Charles, the hotel wouldn't be hotel. And if not for me, the rooms wouldn't be rooms. I made the curtains, I made the carpets, I made the sheets, the pillowcases, the covers, everything. I was going from room to room, cutting, making, mending, everything, running to Mombasa. And in the meantime, when I was in Mombasa, I read in the paper that they sell in Yale plots. And you have to pay only 10%. So I run and I ring up, and it appears that the person knows me, the manager, and I go to him and he shows me on the map that it's only 1,500 pounds an acre of land. Mm-hmm. And I'm so taken in that I wanted straight away, I wanted the contract in my hand. And I asked Charles on the phone. I don't do anything without Charles. Until now, nothing I've done without Charles. But this time Charles says no. He says it's not right. We will only have more work. And what for do you need it? You have the hotel. I said, Charles, it's a plot near the sea. If you will not have this now, you will never get it again. This is a chance for life. He wasn't happy. But as it was not much money, and as I had money, I paid in and I had the plot. Then I started to build. He was also not happy. He knew the work will fall on him. But I thought also it's a wonderful thing. If we come, the family comes on Christmas. Your mother used to come, you used to come. We all stayed in the Manor Hotel, exactly Christmas, when you wait a whole year to have business. We took a whole floor. From 42 till 49, it was ours. Because there were 3 families, 4 families with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we can be on the sea, and that can be rented. So it's a good idea. Anyway, Charles helped me a lot with arranging and finishing. We finished the hotel. Morris came for a holiday. Your mommy came. Morris came, your mommy came. I was there, Marianne came. We were in that big house. It was something marvelous. We took 2 men from here. They took, you don't remember because you were small. Yeah. But I remember that Alex said that she'll put on a show. And I was lying in bed. Early morning you got up all. And she started to build up a show. And it was very hot in my room, and I came on the veranda. And I was lying and resting a little bit. And Eliana came over to me, or somebody else, I don't remember. Granny, we need to play here. We have to put up sheets and we have to rehearsal. I was very tired. I said, I want to lie down. I'm tired. And Alex came, and she said, leave my poor granny alone. Come, let us play downstairs. Only Alex did it. Leave my poor granny alone, she said. Come, let us play downstairs. They went downstairs all to play. And it was most wonderful. The children together, you get on together, and you play together. And we ate a lot of food from the Manor Hotel. We brought everything. It was the most wonderful holiday. And then everybody went away. Then it started to be too small, the house. So Morris one time came, we started to be more demanding. And Charles took for him 2 hotel rooms in the next is the Mombasa Beach Hotel. And it cost about £1,000. And I said, my God, Charles, why? We can build up another flat. Charles wasn't very keen, but Morris said, oh yes, Mama, build. So I called in a contractor. Not first, I called in the engineer, the architect, and the architect made me the plan, and a very good architect, May and Company. And he built up upstairs a beautiful flat of 2 bedrooms, 2 separate bathrooms, a sitting room, a dining room, 3 verandas, right on the sea. It was like in a boat. Cool, lovely. But underneath it was on stilts, and underneath for the children to play and a store. So we had already, it wasn't so tight now, so we had the house and we had this, so we didn't need to take in a hotel a room. Then, the girls started to grow bigger, and they went for a dance on Christmas, and they started to be sorry for the Africans and dance with them. And a few Africans took advantage and told them they're very poor and they haven't got from what to live. And Alex and Gabi went to talk to them, on the veranda. Somehow Mother didn't like it at all. And he said, he's not coming anymore. He's frightened the girls will get too friendly with the local boys. So he didn't come anymore, but we used to go for the holidays. So that finished at that. Then I decided the children have grown up. Mariam was still alive. She didn't like that. I said, Mariam, I'm going to make another flat underneath where the children are playing. They are growing up. Another flat will give me an income. It's only to build in and do inside, but the wall is, the down is there, the veranda is up, the ceiling you have. So you have to just fill it in. She wasn't happy about it, but I decided I'm doing it, and it cost, I think, 10,000, 15,000 pounds, and we built up the other flat. That's only 3 years ago. No, Mariam was alive when I built that. Yeah, Mariam was alive. We went still for a few years together, and then, of course, when Mariam died, the children used to come from England, and Charles and me, and we were very happy together. What else can I tell you? That Charles gave his life for the hotel. Charles has been doing everything he had on his shoulders. Mariam was good in the house, and with the children, she was a very good mother. She looked after them well, she gave them food in time. Everything was all right, but the boys grew up and they started to fight with each other terribly. Liana grew up, they went all to school, and Charles was day and night working in the hotel. And everywhere we went together. Mm-hmm. Did we go for dinner? We went together. Did we go for a Friday night? We went together. Did we invite? One Friday she had, one Friday I had. It was arranged. She said, when I said, Marian, can I help you? Can I give you some fish? No, no, no. If I make my Friday, I make. You make your own. So she made one Friday, I made the other Friday. She made one Friday, I the other Friday. It went on like this very well, and till the day when we lost her. That was a terrible shock, because Charles loved her. They were a very happy couple, and lovely children, and a lovely home. And she did her job. She painted, she sculptured. She wasn't lazy. She was always doing something. And Charles was doing the hotel, and I was working very hard. I must tell you, I felt that Abraham died, so I have to be the father, and I have to be the grandmother. And something else I said again, 65 it is. Abraham died in 63. Charles came to start the business in 63. And I think we were talking about Daniel, that he has another year to finish.
No, you...
What else would you want to know?
You finished off saying that you felt a bit guilty when Abraham died, and that you wanted to be the mother and the father, the grandmother and the granddad.
No, not guilty, but I was working so hard and never thought of myself, because I felt that Abraham died, so the responsibility is now mine. I have to be the grandmother and the grandfather.
Right.
Yeah. And for Kayla, I was very worried, because Israel is a hard country, and I thought that I would like her to have an easier life. But in Israel, it wasn't easy. It was hard. For Kayla to study, it was hard, the accommodation to get. But she was happy. When she married, it was also not easy. The beginning was good, but later on, when they moved there and the government changed, and Daddy was working for Cloud, then it was much harder for Kayla. But what I wanted to tell you, you wanted to know, what did you say?
When last you wanted to tell us about
Yeah,
South Africa, you spent some time with
I
with our
spent
family.
with your family, and I was very happy. First of all, Daddy was very nice to me, and I noticed that Daddy is working very, very hard. He used to get up early morning. When I got up, he was gone long ago. He was all the day in that factory, never came for lunch. He lived with a biscuit and a cup of tea. In the evening when he came, he had dinner and he had to run to the accountant. He really was working very, very hard. And Kayla was sitting day after day with me to account how much they have to pay out on Friday, the workers. One worker on Monday, he worked 6 hours and 15 minutes. Have you ever had to pay for 15 minutes? How can you pay for 15 minutes? I said, but Kayla, you give a system, they work till the 7 hours, and no more. They come and they say they work, they have a clock. They clocked for 7 hours and 15 minutes. They did something like this, and the 15 minutes was over. And for that she had to pay. And we were sitting till 12 o'clock in the night and working out for 65 people. One worked 20 minutes, one 25 minutes, one 30 minutes. You had to work out how much it is for the 30 minutes. So Kayla was working hard like a slave. Your daddy was working very hard. And in the end, I didn't see that they have money in the hand. I could saw that it was tight, very tight. I was sorry for them. And Yael didn't have company. She came from school. She sat down on the floor. Yael eats very little. She doesn't want to become fat. So she eats so little that every time I looked at her, my heart was bleeding. I thought, how can a child live just with nothing? I want to give her this, I want to give her that. Thank you, Granny, thank you, Granny. I'm not hungry. But she's a lovely child. She's nice, she's delicate. She's very pretty, you know. Yael is a very pretty child. And she was sitting on the floor and working very hard with the heart. That's what she liked, heart.
Art.
Yes, yeah.
Painting.
Painting. She was sitting till 12 o'clock in the night, and no fun. She was already, when I was there, 17 years a girl. She wants to go, and she wants to go with boys, she wants to talk, she wants to dance, she wants to sing. Nothing, no dancing, no singing, no going with friends, sitting in the house, or she watched television, or she was on the floor doing art. And day in, day night, day in, I was sorry for that child. But Mommy tells me on the phone now that because she was doing art, she has now in a company with a lot of art students, and apparently she made more friends with them, and they are very nice, and they go together, and she thinks that it's completely different now. So I'm very glad. And I'm glad that you tell me that Daddy thinks in a few years' time he'll be able to sell the factory and be able to relax, and Mommy should relax and be more with your children, because he hasn't got the time to do anything for you. He runs all the time. And I'm terribly glad, Avi, I think you have done the most wonderful thing, that you came and you wanted to film how would I say, to film my life history.
Mhm.
And my life is a very different one that yours or somebody else's, because I lived through in Poland from 1905 when I was born. There were so many things when I was 10 years old. I was already, we had already run away. The war broke out in 1914. I was only 9 years old. There was a war straight away. We ran to Russia. We were in Russia. I lost my father. I lost a sister. There were so many changes, so much sorrows. We came back to Poland. Again, it was sorrows. What can I tell you? My time where I went through is something that happens once in 100 years.
1,000 years.
Or maybe in 1,000 years. Look how many wars. 1914 a war, the revolution in 1918, the Bolsheviks came up and wanted to kill us. We had to run away to Poland. We came from Poland, Germany, Germans were there. They didn't want to give us food. We had to go and schlep ourselves to villages to change material for potatoes, material for flour, for milk, for a bit of butter. There was nothing to eat. It went on like this for a longer time till they ran away. It broke out a revolution in Germany. Then the Russians came back. The Russians fought again. The Russians fought again with Germany, again. And then the Polanders stood up, and the Russians lost the war on the book in Warsaw. And the Polanders stood up and they said, Nasza Polska. We have been, we've been for a long under the yoke, occupied. We want now Poland back. And it was the Versailles, I think it was like that. It was the Versailles committee, and it was the decision that Poland should get Poland back. So we became Polanders. Suddenly we became Polanders. We don't know Polish. We don't know anything about Poland. We became Polanders. So I am already, in 1918, I am already 13 years old. I don't know one word how to write in Polish. What am I to do? You can't go back to school. You have to have private lessons. It was hard. It was that life that we went through, and then it was a terrible anti-Semitism broke out in Poland. Then it was a time that we had a president, a Polish one, that we called him Grabski. He was putting such a lot of taxes on the people that nobody could pay, so he was going with wagons and collected the things for the taxes, and we called them grabbing, Grabski. That was, I don't remember the year, but it was very difficult. Sam sent us money every now and again. When I was married with Abram, it was a time, I remember like today, we had money for a quarter pound of sugar. For a quarter pound, not a kilo. I was already pregnant with Morris. In the night, I used to be very hungry. So I find old pieces of bread. I used to have the old pieces of bread and drink water. And I think I felt that it's very tasty. But that was only in the house. There was nothing more. It was later on, it became better. Abraham brought in oil, and he made another business. Morris was born. It was hard, but later we built up a very big business. And it was like a departmental store. We had a lot of everything. And then we had to run, because I was sure that Abraham will be arrested, because the anti-Semitism was so big that it was a style like this in Poland. If the person that didn't like you, and he was a Pole, and he went to the police and he said that you said that the Polish people are swines, you also had to take that. They came and arrested you. You were in jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Ruth's father, David, was in jail. I didn't have the time to tell you. He was in jail, and we took him out with money, and he came to me and he said, you have to help me. And Abraham was already in Johannesburg with Sam. And I gave him money, and he made a false wedding with a woman that was going to Israel. She had the paper. She could marry him and take him on her paper. And he ran away. He had to have the court case, but they let him out on money. He ran away. Then I was called to the prokuror that I gave him money, and he was with me. Very easy, I should say very easy. And did I give him money? I said, no, I didn't give him money. Nobody saw that I gave him money. But that was a terrible thing. I cannot explain you in what danger I was then. And Daddy was already in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I remained with the children, and I told you on the cassette, the anti-Semitism was very great, and I thought they will kill me, the children. So that's what I went through, and Abraham went through, and the coming year, and how the first year was difficult, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But Abraham was terribly clever, and he was a genius. And after a few years, I told you on the cassette, we swam out. And he bought this and he bought that, everything on mortgages. He could buy a house with 200 pounds, and he would make a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great chance for you to know all these things. But it's wonderful that you wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very grateful to you. Because if not for you, it wouldn't be marked off on the cassette. The children wouldn't know. Your mother wouldn't know. And I wouldn't sort of relieve everything and be proud that I can till going through such a lot of episodes, I'm still okay. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. So I will miss you terribly. We'll have to be on the writing terms. I will give you a big pad to write. I will give you envelopes that you shouldn't have to worry to run out and buy the things. And I want you to write to me at least every month. Will you do that?
Definitely.
You will.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you enjoy to be here?
Well, Granny, I'd like to thank you. You didn't let me say anything at the beginning of the tape, so I'm going to say something now. I want to thank you for spending so many hours with me here, taping everything, and coming out of your office to work through the day on these tapes and cassettes.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. If you are the instigator, if you wouldn't start, I wouldn't be able to come out, and it would be a dead thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's alive. You put something that it hasn't been done. I'm now 87. It hasn't been done till today.
Mm-hmm.
Till you started. How long is it that you started?
How?
To tape. It's maybe only 4 days.
Well, a week, nearly a week.
A week. So you've done a marvelous job. Thank you very much, my darling. I love you.
Granny, as I said, thank you for spending so much of your time with me and being so good to me while I'm here on my way to Israel.
Yeah.
Your stories have always interested me,
Yes. Yes.
but especially the stories about Abram and your life.
Abraham was a wonderful man. Abraham loved his grandchildren. Ruthie had the mazel. Ruth's children, we went for a wedding to some of, no, it wasn't a wedding, I think it was a bar mitzvah of one of Ruth's sons.
Mm-hmm.
The one son that she had. It was a bar mitzvah, and I remember like today, he was dancing with the little ones,
Mm-hmm.
and he was so happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a lot of warmth in himself. The family is such a big thing for him. It was for him. You have no idea. He brought out his brother from Lodz, the one that went to be a rabbi in Rhodesia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was 29 years a rabbi in Rhodesia. His brother, Yankiv Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought him out from Lodz. I don't know whether many people have done things like that. And Yankiv Yale lived in our house here in Nairobi, and he prepared everything for him. He lived with us maybe half a year till he found a place in Rhodesia to be a rabbi in Livingstone.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham gave him the money to go to Livingstone, helped him to establish himself, and he was there a rabbi for 29 solid years.
Mm-hmm.
That you didn't know,
I
maybe.
knew that.
You knew. And you know that he was a very intelligent man. He was writing in every chronicle about the Talmud and about God knows what. Yankiv Yale was a very, very highly educated man.
Well, Granny, I think
Yeah.
that maybe through your stories of Abram, I kind of know a little bit about him.
Exactly.
I think had he lived
Oh.
to this day, I think we would have been great friends.
Oh,
Somehow,
it's a pity that Abraham is not alive. He would have had a lot of pleasure. He would have loved you. For him, a grandchild was life.
and I would have very much loved to have met him and spoken to him.
Yeah.
And
Well, you will be in the place where he lies in Jerusalem, in a very beautiful place. Funnily enough, you know, that when we came on holiday, he took his brother and he told him, not more and not less, if I die, because at that time he was already at 3 attacks, I want to lie in Israel. So remember that I want to lie in Israel, come to look for a grave for me. Suddenly my husband goes away from Tel Aviv and goes with David to Jerusalem. And I find out for what did he go? To look for a grave. Because the brother promised him if he'll die, wherever he will die, he'll bring him back to Israel, to be buried in Israel. So he comes on Friday. Kayla's wedding has to be in 10 days' time. He died on October. No, Kayla's wedding was on October, and he died a month before. Only 1 month before. He brought himself and he died. He said he wants to lie in Israel. He's lying in Israel. He is buried in Israel on the Aram Nocha. And that was, I was so cross, I was so excited. I said, you come with me for a holiday, you run to look for a grave. Well, that was everybody, you know, the Lebanons said that he's a tzaddik. Because only a tzaddik can die so quick. He didn't take 20 minutes. He said, quickly a doctor, an ambulance, I'm dying. And he died on my hand. It didn't take 20 minutes. Kayla ran to take a ring to Ellie. He should run and bring a doctor. And when she came in back, he wasn't alive. The doctor came, he said, it's finished. I was terribly shouting, and how could you do like this to me? You take him to the hospital, and why isn't he in the hospital? He said, my dear girl, you can't do anything. He had a clot of blood that went in a few seconds, it doesn't come to the head. He died. What do you want? We couldn't have done anything, he said, if he would be in the hospital. It would have been the same. So nobody could do anything. But it's a terrible shame because he didn't have the pleasure to see Kayla married. Kayla wouldn't have been married if the rabbi wouldn't insist that it is in the Jewish law. If it's 10 days before the wedding, we have no right to cancel. That is the Jewish law. Can you imagine how we went to that wedding? I don't want even to talk because it will excite me for weeks. So that is that, my darling. Thank you 1,000 times again. It was a pleasure to have you. And we will soon, please God, see each other in Israel. I hope that you can arrange yourself in a good kibbutz, and you'll be successful in the army. It will definitely not be for you a easy period from South Africa to the army. I think is a very it's a
jump, but we'll
it's
manage.
a terrible jump, and it's a different situation. Here you're on a flat, you go to university. It's different. Here you're in the army. What did they do with you in the beginning?
They'll make me run, I'm sure.
They'll make you run. And when it's cold and when it's raining. But God will help. I believe that it does everybody good. The army does everybody good. And this is your will. I wanted that you should make a master. Even in Israel. Would be nice. I would have been very happy if, for instance, from here you are going to university and you're going to make yourself a master. And later you give the army.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Exactly, you will see. You will see how it goes. But if you go in the army, you can't step out. No. So let us wish you a lot of luck and all the best. And you should write to us good letters, and every time you'll be able to go away, you will come to your Grammy, and God should give me for another few years that I should be able to see you happy, see Ayel happy, see Mommy in a better position, see Daddy that he has something for all his work. See Ayel, what do you think will be with Ayel? You think when she finishes next year she'll come to Israel?
This year, I hope so.
Not this year.
This year she's finishing.
No, you're mistaken. This year she's finishing. You mean in 93 she's finishing?
School?
She is now having her matric. So next year, what do you think?
In Jerusalem.
To study in Jerusalem?
Maybe, I don't know. I hope she comes back to Israel and we'll be together again, the three of us. I think she'll have a good time. I think it's the best idea.
I think so too. I think she doesn't have to join the army, no. She has, when she graduates and she has a bit of fun, She has to go and study in Jerusalem.
Good.
Yeah.
You see?
Please God. So all the best.
Well,
And Charles has been wonderful to you. He has been a wonderful uncle. It couldn't be better. And with Liat, with Eliana, you got on well, and with Mark, you got on well, and with Eitan well, and it was a successful time.
and a very enjoyable.
An enjoyable holiday for you.
And I hope these folks have enjoyed the videos.
Yeah.
And
I would like to see the piece that James spoke a few words.
good. So let's go watch.
Come, and we'll take this. So is it finished
Yeah,
now?
I've got it there. Come, Granny.
Yeah? Lovely. So now we finish. And it's half past 10. Yes.
1976,
Mm-hmm.
and I started 76 until now,
Mm-hmm.
1993.
Right. Did you start to work? Did you start working in the hotel first, or
No, we started the work.
right?
Yeah.
And how has it been?
I do very well. I'm very happy
Mhm.
for the job, and I like mother.
Yeah.
They help me very much, and I do very well. The job, they help me, and Mr. Charles and Mr. Morris always will help me. Mr. Morris will help me for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to get to him. I'm very happy really, through my life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Mr. Morris
Mm-hmm.
and Mr. Charles, very happy. When he got trouble, to ask to him, he helped me very much indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
very happy. I do very happy. When when Slapaka was sick, I take careful
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for him very much
Mm-hmm.
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him,
Mm-hmm.
like him very well.
Yeah.
And I think we're happy when still to him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The God will help him and help me to continue together
Right.
with the job. I'm very happy to stay together because we do job like they help me and Slepak will help me. Then like tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
not like to improve
Mm-hmm.
to him, but like it teach me like my like children.
Mm-hmm.
And like to help him like tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I always we help him for the medicine. Always remember very well. We take it careful for him. We cannot not forget to help him medicine anytime, every large time, night time, in the morning. Always we take careful
Mm-hmm.
for medicine because Mr. Africa sometimes forgot the medicine. But mine take careful, make memory
Right. Right.
for my head.
Right.
You cannot forget because I like him very much.
Tell me, James, you've been here since '76.
Yeah,
So you remember me as a little kid, huh?
yeah, I remember you very well. And remember you when you were very kid, we come to 26.
Mm-hmm.
Remember you very well.
And every year I used to come
Yeah,
to Kenya,
yeah, I remember you
and
very
you
well.
saw me every
And
year
every
a
year, very
a
well.
bit taller.
We come big, and come big, and now very gentleman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like you very much, and your mother sometimes when you came, you give me gift for that. Always you remember him very much. I'm very happy to him.
Good.
Yeah. And say, always God will help Mr. Africa for still for a long time.
Good.
Yeah.
And God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. indeed.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.